like I said, mixing business with pleasure. Like I walk my dogs with like wholesalers. Like I go bike riding with like my clients. Like I invite them out to the weird stuff I like to see in our city. Like and do like I make our life very open to people, and the people that want to come to this stuff, I'm the most similar to. So like I enjoy talking to them, and we don't always talk business, but we connect in other ways. And so nothing feels like work anymore.
Welcome to the Cash Flow Chronicles. I'm your host, Jonny Catani, and the founder of Catani Capital Group. For the last 2 years, I've been studying alternative assets and now help solve the problem of creating passive cash flow for creators, influencers, and busy professionals by bringing you 5 episodes a week of easy to understand education in the world of passive investing. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Cash Flow Chronicles. I'm your host, Jonny Catani, and I'm joined today by Rob Bergeron. Rob became a realtor in 2014. He's been serving investor clients ever since. Owner of the LouisvilleNetwork.com local wholesaling network. His investment focus is Airbnb. He's been on the local RIA board for 4 years. Rob, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, we're stoked to have you. We've had an awesome offline conversation. Finally had to hit record. But we realized we have a lot of similarities. Of course, know a lot of the same people. You're in Louisville. We realized we were at the same conference. Didn't get a chance to meet, but I'm sure we will. Cool. So you've got a nice little resume here. Take us back, though. Let's kind of start at the beginning. When did you discover real estate? What made you kind of want to get into it? Kind of that genesis moment.
Well, it's kind of funny. I guess just reflecting on like my childhood and everything. I've been like an entrepreneur like since I was a kid. Like I would buy up all the soft pretzels and then resell them for like a quarter more. Like, I was the guy who got friends to like snow plow people's houses or whatever. So I guess my grandmother was an agent in Arizona, but I really never met her when she had Alzheimer's. So I didn't find that out until I was a newer agent. But I started working in senior living right out of college, University of Kentucky. I got sent off to Iowa, and I was in charge of sales and marketing for a retirement community. And like, I hated it. I would make friends with these old people, wind their clocks, and then they die like the next week. It was just really depressing. And a 24-year-old living in a retirement community, it was ridiculous. But I was good at the job. Like I got the end of sales. I took some time off, moved to Florida, Ecuador, and then got my license. But I didn't know anybody here in Louisville. I'm from Ohio, graduated from UK. And so I just started advertising on Craigslist. And this is like, Craigslist wasn't even cool when I started advertising on Craigslist. And, but I was such an asshole about it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to swear.
Oh, you're good.
And I would watch Netflix in my boxers, and I'd just be like, oh yeah, you got to post, and I'd post like 50 more. And so when I started, there was like probably like 30 agents like posting on Craigslist, and like by the end, it was just me and one other.
Like posting their listings, or
yeah,
what were they
posting nonstop listings. So this guy named Hampton, who's on the board of our local RIA with us, he was reaching out about a lot of them, and they were cheap properties that no one else really cared about. And so I was so attentive. I didn't have anything else to do. So he started working with me, and then I didn't realize he was like a bigwig in the industry. So then other people saw he worked with me and were like, oh shoot, I should work with him too. And I was like, oh crap, I've got to learn all this. So I went to every real estate meetup. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, didn't do anything for me. Then I read it again and made more sense. And then, eventually after going to all those meetings, I started being the smartest guy in the room because I've been to so much stuff, and I was always able to ask the right question, always provide value. And it worked out really well. And so I've been doing that since 2014. And it's been pretty great. And I get paid to learn, right? Because I go to these meetups, I learn. And then now I'm working with like all these high level people, and I'm seeing all these like tricks of the trade that they're doing. I'm like, I can do these things. I bet my clients want to know about that battery factory too. I don't know. It's cool. And so I read a lot too. But like the news and everything, I'm kind of a junkie. So I know everything going on all the time. So I can always add some value to somebody in our market. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I recorded a solo episode yesterday. I talked about that, how important it is to be reading. I read the Wall Street Journal every morning while I drink my coffee. It's funny. It's important for us, I don't want to say easy, but like, we both realized we were talking offline about how our risk tolerance is pretty low relative to, I would say, the average person, especially
Pretty high, right?
Yes. Sorry. Yes. Very high risk tolerance.
We're risky business.
Yes. And, but, and it's important to make informed decisions, especially when you're talking about, when large sums of money are involved, for sure. But it is funny because it does feel like sometimes some of my investment decisions are kind of off the cuff. And those end up being, usually end up being some of your best decisions. And so it's funny to tell people like, oh, make sure you're informed and you're making informed decisions and reading as much as you can. But then, oh, by the way, be careful of analysis paralysis. Don't get too informed.
Yeah. No,
how do you juggle that line? Where does that kind of happen for you? So you're not overanalyzing, but still feel informed.
I have some really great examples of this because I've been around in our area. I'm in Louisville, and I analyze deals for everybody. Like, it's just like, I don't know. I have a lot of time. Like, what else am I gonna do? And I found this deal. I was like, guys, I have all these friends. Like, somebody buy. I don't do any rehabs, by the way. Like, I'm a softie. I'm a push around in that regard. Like, I need someone who knows what they're doing that can be direct and stuff. It's just not me. I like to have a little input, but like, I let them do whatever they want. So we have multiple different partners all the time. But I was like, guys, I found this lake house over here. It's 80,000. It's to the studs. It's brand new. Like, we just have to finish it. And nobody wanted it. And it had been on the market for 4 months. I finally talked my buddy Joe into it. We bought it. I put 8,000 down on the $80,000 house. We're putting 200,000 in. I FaceTime my hard money lender, show him the front door, and he's like, I'll buy it. You can get it. And we're putting 200 in. We'll be all in 280. It's on Lake Barkley, but in the woods, not even looking at the water. And it should appraise for $500,000, and that one should gross about 120,000 a year.
Wow.
Like, pretty easily. And that same partner, I had this other house, flood zone, fire damage, had squatters for a year. Squatters were so pissed that they set the house on fire. They took the steps off all the doors, so you can't just walk into the house. And then my business partner, there was a shed in the backyard, and he had his gun out as a flashlight, and they were living in the shed. And that's a scary situation. I wasn't there. But we got it out of the flood zone, which forced appreciation instantly. And then we added 2 bedrooms and a bath to it. So forced appreciation. It's a big project. So we bought it for 55. We're putting 90 in. I just ran comps. Ours is a 3.2. I ran comps for a client on one. I sold them 2.2, and it was worth 340. So ours is probably going to be worth 350, and we're all in 145. So on those 2 deals, all in 13,500, we'll have forced 270,000 of appreciation on 2 deals and 200,000 gross income a year. I mean, like, that's really killer math. And we're not even cashing out on those. We're leaving the money there, getting lines of credit. Then we can, buy warehouses, franchises. I want to get a franchise that won't make me fat, so I can barter with it. So like trade it. So like my fiance can get her nails done. I get free weekly massages, doggy daycare. I want to just barter because all of our friends own all these other businesses. Why not? Like,
so get a little retail space and put them each in there. And so then you have,
why not? I mean,
and they're all on triple net. So then it's like,
and it's cool.
Hands off.
I'm all about experiences, which I think you are too, in the ancillary benefits on this. Like, we get to go visit like 3 times a year. We're going to throw big parties, have a great time at that one lake house. I've got another lake house that I bought for 145, put 50K in. It was appraised for 270. We bought that one from the bass player of Steppenwolf, Born to Be Wild. Like that.
Oh, wow.
And it's infected. This is crazy. I'm in Kentucky. The house has armadillos, which if they bite you, which they're not biting creatures, you can get leprosy. Which is crazy to me as well. So, but like, they're harmless. But that thing, we're all in 190. It should make 120K a year. We made it sleep 18 people. So I mean, but the ancillary benefits of being able to use this stuff traded on house swaps, whatever. Like, you can really elevate your quality of living. We're getting married. I mentioned Italy. The band we're dancing to, they're not coming to Italy. But basically one night I got on Reddit and I was like, I don't have any music to listen to. So I went on Songkick, and was listening to everything for this one particular bar that gets good music early on. Like they're up on things. And now basically we met the band. They're kind of blowing up. We put them up in the Airbnb for free. Like, and now we have this like cool relationship with this band just because we had like the opportunity to like serve them. And I read in David Grohl's book that someone did that for him in California, gave him some weed, like put him up on a beach house. And like, I wanted to be that person for someone and I had the opportunity to do it. And so we did it. It's so cool. I don't know. It's neat to me at least. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's why I love this industry so much, because you can do anything you want. And honestly, I feel like that's what deters people sometimes, because it can be very overwhelming in the beginning to really decide what you want to do, right? You know, you decide you want to get into Airbnbs and short-term rentals, and then someone comes along and is like, oh, well, that's, you know, a diluted market, you know, and then you're like, okay, well, you know, what about this? And it's like, you know, people are like, oh, well, what about apartments? It's like, oh, well, you know, apartments are going to crumble because that's what everyone's been doing.
Oh, you heard that statistic at that conference. 23% multifamilies in the country are underwater right now.
Yeah.
That was crazy. I thought I went to the Race Fest as well, and just the economics portion was worth it, in my opinion. I really, really dug that. Yeah, I've been trying to get into oil and gas because that was their number one thing. So I've been putting up feelers to all my friends in that. And like, I have a friend who like invests in that at a high level. And I'm like, all right, diversify, right? Like, I love Airbnb because we're hoping to get one at Lake Como because George Clooney did it and he's from Kentucky. So we have to do it too. And we're getting married obviously in Rome, and we're testing him. If he does a good job with us, we're gonna say, hey, would you want to like take advantage of this house we're gonna buy and also manage it? And theirs is a wedding venue Airbnb, so we think we could make a lot of money in Italy. Maybe get dual citizenship as well. I'm 2.7% Italian, I guess, but we want to merge like business and pleasure all the time.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. What is it like over there in terms of Americans owning property? Can you just go over there and buy stuff, or
It's
is it
very
challenging?
easy right now. So if in that economic conference, they mentioned how China's population's like really not in great shape, and Italy is just as bad, and they're way older. So they're selling. I read an article, I think, in maybe not the Times, but something about a couple who bought a $1 house in Italy, and there's a lot of rules because you have to have it like completed in a certain amount of time, blah blah blah. But there's a ton of opportunity by real estate now. Perhaps Italy is becoming fascist, so that is something that is we have to think about a little bit more. But Costa Rica is something we've been interested in, and we go and build a home in Belize for a family every year. And
Nice.
we think we maybe want to get one down there too, just to have something.
Yeah, Belize, I've heard great things. I have not been, but I've heard nothing but great things. Costa Rica, same. Both I know are pretty favorable towards real estate. I actually know some people who've got some portfolios in both. That's the cool thing about the short-term rental space, is it really does open up almost the globe to you. You know what I mean? And just like you said, you've got the opportunity to, you know, rent it out in the meantime. And then when you want to use it, you know, go reserve those dates and boom, you've got a place that's
For your parents, your friends, your family. Like we can donate it to nonprofits and they can auction that off, or like take a retreat. And like there's lots of feel goods involved too. Like, I don't know, you can incorporate that altruism into your business. It's just, you feel good.
I love that. That's awesome. Donating. Interesting. And so how does that work then? You donate and it's just like the appraised value basically?
No. So like, I was intern for the Red Cross in college at UK.
Cool.
And I remember I had to drive all the way out to this place called Berea, and it was cold, and it's just like kind of hippie town. And I didn't want to spend 3 hours driving that day, but they wouldn't mail this scarf so we could get it for our silent auction. So I went and had to get the scarf, and they filled out my paperwork, and I saw it was listed for $30 on the shelf, but they wrote it off at $150. And so I was like, well, that's interesting. So what if I donate perhaps a little bit of off-peak times to these nonprofits to use. And we kind of deck out our Airbnb so they're like 4 seasons, so like hot tubs, stuff like that.
Right.
You know, we make it enjoyable just to be.
It's honestly the only way to get people to stay at your places now.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, unless you like, you know, Salt Lake, I'm sure you have hiking and you have skiing, but you probably make more of your money on the skiing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, finding those areas that are like multi-season are pretty interesting. But yeah, no, we really dig it, and we want to diversify. Like, we kind of just go where the opportunities are. And we've wanted a bourbon trail house for like 3 years, but you know, the lake houses and a couple local projects just, you know, come up before. But we really want to do it.
Do you just scour the interwebs, or what do you typically do to find these opportunities? Do you just think of like, oh, hey, I want to go do this thing, so let me see if I can find a property that can help facilitate that? Or what does it typically look like?
Kind of like, we were kind of touching on legislation and stuff like that. So like, you know, I will go to realtor.com. I'm an agent and I will go to realtor.com. So yeah, like, I know people might say don't mess with that stuff, but I do. So I'll set myself up on a waterfront view, and then I'll set myself up on a drip for water access or something like that. There's 2 different ones, and I do both of them separate, and for the whole state of Kentucky. And fun fact, Kentucky is surrounded by 70% water. So we have a lot of like lakes, ponds, whatever. And like, I know which lakes to not buy at. I know which lakes to buy at. Like, we have one lake that has a dam that it like, so they drain the lake, and it's going to be 6 years at least. And so all those property values, you know, tanked.
Oof, that hurts.
Yeah. So, but I know not to buy there right now, or wait 6 years to buy there.
Right.
But like, you know, we stay away from HOAs, maintenance fees. We either like really, really unique experiences, or we need to sleep like so many people. So like, nearly every Airbnb we own will sleep over 14 people, because then it's economical for double families. You know, you can bring all your groups of friends. Like, we make it so like one of our local Airbnbs, we put beer pong or ping pong outside, but we don't like the area. So because we don't want them out too late playing beer pong and pissing off our neighbors. But that way they don't get the house dirty. And then, you know, like, we have like pop-a-shot, foosball, whatever, which I'd opt for air hockey over foosball because less mechanicals. But we try to make them just really fun, and we give a really great food recommendation, so everybody like knows where to go. Like, they have a really great experience when they come to visit us.
And that's the thing that's a really great point to make for those who are interested in getting into the Airbnb short-term rental space, or maybe you're in it and you're struggling to figure out why you're not getting bookings. Those little nuanced things are what are making the difference, right? Your bigger properties where you can sleep multiple families.
Yeah, no, it is like
Cameo from the dog. We love it.
Yeah. Sorry about that. No. The cool thing about some of these lake houses too, they usually have big garages that you can convert to living space. So you can up your sleep counts. A lot of money. I mean, like, I don't know, like, ours sleeps 14, one of our local ones, and we have friends who are all in at 1.2 getting the same returns as us, and we're all in at 310. Like, wow. It's really just knowing what you're looking for. I mean, and so, yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know, you got to buy legislation. We said, so like, we don't really mess with permits anymore. Like, it's not our thing. So insulate yourselves. But there's like so many cool opportunities out there. Like, I suggest looking in your own market, because you can put 10% down on something that's 45 miles away and as a second home, and you just have to live there 14 days a year to qualify for the loan. I mean, I can have 14 days at a lake house a year, no problem. You know, like, I don't know. So
twist my arm. Oh no, we have to go to the lake house legally.
And like, I keep picking on doctors and lawyers just because they have money and they have lifestyle. And but like, gosh, if they had turned those properties into assets, man, like, but people are just aren't willing to give up their space. It's I don't know. I love sharing. You know, I have tons of partners, like business partners, and, you know, collaboration is definitely like the way to go all the time, in my opinion.
No, absolutely. Especially in this industry, it's such a team sport. I mean, you know, what do they say? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I mean, you know, you start, and not to say like, you start bringing other partners, maybe they can put the down payment down. So then you're not having to always take money out of your pocket. They get an opportunity to have a lake house as well. Like there's all these opportunities for partnerships. You get to teach someone about the industry on, like, hey, I've already done this X amount of times, come do this with me and see how it works and see if you like it. Right.
Yeah.
All these cool opportunities to get people involved. And, everyone wins, right? You do it correctly.
Well, and it can help us get those non-believers that we kind of talked about before, our friends who haven't bought into it all yet. Like, and it's not like, and honestly, my friends, they're all going to do great. Like they're fine. Like they're going to have fine lives, like in the jobs they have and everything. But like our goal is to position ourselves when our friends have like any type of vacation they invite us to go on. We want to be able to say yes to all of them. Like,
right.
And like, my only fear is my friends will can only say yes to like one or two of them or something like that. Which means they have less opportunities for special moments and experiences. So they're going to be fine, and I'll capitalize on that time I do have with them. But if they learned, like if they had their own lake house, they would have so many special moments. Like, I don't know.
I completely agree with you. I couldn't agree more. And we talked a little bit about this offline, how all you can do is lead by example, right? Hope they decide they want to follow. Ultimately, it's up to them. We're both kind of blessed in that our risk tolerance is naturally kind of high. I don't know where I got that from. Honestly, neither of my parents were risk takers.
No, my parents were so boring. So boring. My dad worked at this company called LexisNexis, and then my stepmom stopped working. And he's an engineer, architect there, solving problems. Great, but like they didn't do anything. Like, they nothing. And like, so I was fortunate. I hooked up with that Hampton guy, and then like I got exposed to it all. And then I started seeing, my paychecks, which are small, and I saw how much they made untaxed, and I was like, there you go. I mean, and then like if I learned how to do it, let me show other people how to do it, and then still get my small checks, but then I'm still learning and able to serve. I don't know. It's kind of nice too. And I think one thing that's nice is like I kind of have like this guilt-free conscience.
Totally.
Like within like, like I noticed that like some people are like pulling back. Do you go to local meetups and stuff like that?
I do. Ours are constantly about like wholesaling and fix and flip. Like that's the big thing here in Salt Lake City. And nothing against wholesaling and fix and flip, but it's not.
I don't like fix and flip either. And I sell for a living. I keep everything.
I just, so, I'm on some lists because I try to, I'm trying to build up a small portfolio on my own of smaller apartment stuff, and every once in a while they'll come across like a 6-unit, but so I don't go as much as I probably should, because I just feel like nobody seems to be interested in like the commercial side or really anything but what they're doing, because, and I get it, right? Because people want to be active. They want to be doing something. You've got some 40-year-old, wholesaler. He's been wholesaling for 10 years. He's got a system dialed and he makes the money that he needs to make.
Yeah.
What I try to help them understand is like, hey, you could also invest passively in some other things and set up passive income, and then you wouldn't have to wholesale forever.
Well, and
that doesn't always land.
Because
yes, correct.
Their taxes are so bad.
They're getting hammered on capital gains.
Mm-hmm. It's just terrible. And because like, short-term rentals and wholesalers, they're both I really hate that. I think the Burr is definitely the way to go. My license plate says Burr. I'm shocked that it's available. I sent a text to David. I was like, can you believe this was available?
That's so great.
No, I thought it was cool. And like most people just think it's like cold or whatever, but the real estate people will be like, oh, okay. Yeah.
When did you get your first, like, when did you discover the Airbnb short-term rental space and kind of start realizing that's what you wanted to do?
I work with like, just like a lot of really smart people. And then a lot of those smart people were like getting into Airbnbs and they were growing really fast. And so I knew that I liked having stuff like to enjoy, and I like sharing, and like I like doing nice things. And the Airbnbs were like, well, I guess rewind a little bit, like all those old dogs, I call them old dogs. Like I know I can't scale as fast as them with like the Burr on those long-term rentals. Like they're collecting so much appreciation, but like their entry level price was like 30, 40, 50, and now they're worth 200. Like, I don't know, like it's just, it doesn't exist as much. So I chose the Airbnbs because I wanted to get to where they are, but I needed a faster conduit. And we don't own any long terms. And part of that is like this year, a personal home, like our plumbing had to be replaced and we have a slab. And so it took like 2 weeks. So we lived in our Airbnb and other ancillary benefit. And then we lost our electricity with a windstorm just like a couple weekends ago.
Oh, wow.
And like, it would have been a huge burden. It was a huge burden for us as owners. Like, but what am I going to do for my tenant? You know, like when their plumbing's out 2 weeks, like, I don't know. I have a harder time with that. With at least these shorter experiences, I have a great opportunity to like make a great impression for those weeks that they're here or whatever, relative to like, you know, because I like walking around at ease because like I treat people right and do the right thing. And I just have that fear. It's like, oh, that person's having a bad week. Like, I don't know. I don't love that yet.
No, 100%. And you made a good point. We were mentioning offline how you're not a big fan of like the midterm stays, right? Kind of that 30+ day. Your travel nurses, same kind of concept there, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's oversaturated because a lot of these Airbnbs aren't making enough money. And so now they're moving to midterms. And the nurses, they have it the best right now. If you're a nurse and you're not a traveling nurse, like, well, if you have a family, it's different. But like, if you can just travel right now, you should be doing it. It's the coolest kind of gig economy stuff right now out there.
Yeah, they're making like 30% more than the
and getting
average
these
nurse.
cool experiences.
Yeah, I've got some friends who are travel nurses. They live in Hawaii right now. So.
Yeah. Dude, Hawaii is like so hot on my brain right now. One of my clients, Andrew Schlag's there for like something. And then 2 of my clients from California just moved there this week. And so I actually put them all, and one of my clients or friends from childhood lives out there in Hawaii. He's doing this cool thing where he's basically buying up tons of Teslas and he has solar out there. And so it's a taxi service. So once they go full self-driving, you know, basically you just have this major taxi service monopoly in Hawaii.
Wow. And it's all Teslas and he uses solar to charge them.
Yeah. So it's like, and then they can get cleaned in that warehouse. So I thought it was pretty neat. And I have a couple like world champion surfers too. And I know Brandon Turner's trying to learn how to surf. And David Green and I kind of work together. And so I sent David a text this morning. It was like, we should just get a mastermind. I'll ask my world champion people to come because they want to hang out with you guys. And then I'll just get to be there, you know, which would be great. Right?
There's something about being the connector. Like you don't always have to be the guy, right? You can be the connector. And that is, I mean, I facilitated some connections that have led to stuff. And yeah, I think you and I are very similar here where like, don't get me wrong. It's fun to succeed and it's fun to be the guy, blah, blah, blah. But man, it's so much more fun to watch people do it. Like so one thing I love is I love to duck hunt. And honestly, I would rather watch my friend shoot and my dog go work than ever pull the trigger. Like there's something more satisfying about watching your friends light up and get the experience and then getting your dog to do his thing. And it's like, you know, all you did was just facilitate. And it's like, it's almost more exciting, I think.
Well, no, that's the cool thing. And I think that's like, kind of goes back to Hermosi, who we talked about as well. Like, right, his ask is like, hey, I don't really have an ask, but if you hit like 3 million in sales, I'll take it to 30. Like, we can have a meeting about that, which I think is really cool. But let me get you to that 3 million first. And that's his pitch. And it's kind of cool because like I connected all those people, like my friend and my clients. It's not going to do anything for me, but it feels really good to do it. And then it's like, some days, I don't know if it's like this for you, but like I feel like, damn, did I work today? And so I've started writing down like stuff that I've done throughout the day. And I realized, damn, I am all over the place everywhere at all times. But it doesn't feel like work, right? It's fun because like that, you get all the good feels. I don't know. It's been great.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. Absolutely. Cool. Well, unfortunately, we do got to wind down here.
No, it's a pleasure, but I'd love to talk some other time.
Oh, of course. We'll go ahead and we'll jump to the final 5 here. First question, best advice you've gotten from a mentor?
shoot, guys, he's not my personal mentor, but Alex Hormozy again. Sorry, maybe it's one of the more recent ones, but I was listening to a podcast episode, and he gets that question all the time, sort of. And so his recommendation, and I've used this with my fiance and my therapist. I said, what is something that I believe to be true that isn't true? And so I remind my therapist to ask me or think about this while we're in our sessions. If she hears something that's like totally off base or whatever, but like she doesn't call me out on it because that's not her job, but I'm asking her to do it. But that'd be it, I think.
I love that. Absolutely. What is it about your career that makes you feel like you're fulfilling your why?
Ooh, I still have a hard time figuring out what my why is, but so that's a bad one for me. But I really I read the book The Go-Giver, and then I felt like I got an exponential, like double return on reading The Go-Giver and then reading the Power of Moments, which is about how we kind of live our life in plateaus, and then it like, you know, we have these mountaintops and then a lot of plateaus, and it's how to create more mountaintops instead of just plateaus. So I combined The Go-Giver with that. So like I said, mixing business pleasure, like I walk my dogs with like wholesalers, like I go bike riding with like my clients, like I invite them out to the weird stuff I like to see in our city, like, and do like, I make our life very open to people, and the people that want to come to this stuff, I'm the most similar to. So like, I enjoy talking to them, and we don't always talk business, but we connect in other ways. And so nothing feels like work anymore.
I love that. That's incredible. Favorite non-real estate or investment related book?
Well, I guess The Power of Moments, based on what I just said. But there's, gosh, I don't know, The Go-Giver and Power Moments. Rich Dad Poor Dad's obviously so obvious. I don't know. I've been trying
That's technically investment related, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I don't know. Malcolm Gladwell's psychology stuff has always really done it for me. I've read everything he's put out. So I really enjoy his stuff.
Yeah, Malcolm Gladwell.
Analytical data analysis.
What did I read that was his recently? Does he have a new one that came out within the last few years? I feel like he did.
What the Dog Saw is the last one I read. I don't know if that's it.
No, I can't remember.
I picked it up in an airport, but I don't know when it was.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, I'm sure I've thought of this as like a kid. I don't know. I think maybe an understanding of what people want. That's kind of an interesting idea, because if I know what everybody wants and I like solving problems, I could just go around and solve problems. Like I always kind of look at Mr. Beast. I don't know anything about Mr. Beast, for the record, but I see what he's doing.
Yeah,
like, he can help people with blindness or whatever. It's like, okay, well, he's not asking for anything, but he's getting tons of views, which is giving him tons of marketing. Like, if he continues that path of always just doing nice things to help people, and like, then why wouldn't he be president, vice president, whatever? So the idea is, if your whole value is just helping people and understanding the root of how to help people, you can go really far.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of my mentors always says, and I'm going to probably butcher this, but he's like, it's something like, in order to get where you want, you've got to help people get what they want. Something like that.
Ziglar.
That's who it is. Zig Ziglar said it.
You always get what you want when you help other people get what they want.
Yes, that's it. Okay.
Awesome. I just referenced that on a post last week.
I love it. Yeah, so true. So true. Cool. Well, last one. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you and learn more?
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to engage more on Twitter. That's like, because I like the dialogue there and I learn a lot there. So you can find me at Robert Bergeron. But you can email me to rob@roilouisville.com or whatever. I take meetings, I'm here to help and serve. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll link down the show notes, make it super easy. Rob, thank you so much for coming on. This was absolutely amazing. Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you again for tuning in. Who do you know that wants more cash flow? Share this episode with them so you can grow your cash flow together. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you're subscribed on your platform of choice so you never miss a new episode. Go to CataniCapitalGroup.com to learn more.